Hey, okay.
How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so grateful to you. Thank
No,
you.
please stop saying that. I am so grateful that you're here. I cannot begin to tell you how excited and nervous I was about this chat, the live chat that we were going to do. And I'm telling you right away, I'm not very good at this. And all my friends also joining in. Hi Ashka, hi Surbhi, hi Chetali. And they're all a huge fan of what you say, what you do, the person that you are. So a few of my friends, when I told them that I'm going to be talking to you today, they all send you so much love, and you've helped your book, what you post on your Instagram. It helps everybody. It helps me and everybody around me a great deal. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. I feel all the love coming through the screen and from all your friends. So I feel your wonderful energy radiating across the screen. So genuinely, thank you so much. When I found out you were reading my book, it was such an honor. And then when you shared it and you shared your learnings and we were messaging back and forth and we started to connect, that there can be nothing more beautiful for an author. So I'm so deeply touched by your love and your ability to share it. I'm glad that we get to share it today, and you're doing great at way. So do not worry.
Thank you so much. I've just come back from work. This is my team. It's not me, but thank you so much.
Of course. Well,
so,
I'm glad.
My friend, you have to say hello to Vanessa and Ashka and Ayan Mukherjee and Gunjan.
Okay, so I'm going to try and do that from my memory. Vanessa?
Ashka?
Ashika, hello. I hope you're well.
Ayan?
Ayan, I hope you're doing awesome.
Gunjan?
Gunjan, sending you my love.
And Chetali.
And Chetali, I hope you're really... I hope I get to see you all one day in person.
I hope so too, and I hope that, I was... I didn't, at that point of time, we were not really, I hadn't connected with you, and I didn't know how to, but in the month of March, I was going to come to LA, and I was finding ways to try and meet you. So I would have probably actually called Shamita and said, yeah, she's a dear friend. So I would have asked her to connect me to you probably.
Yeah.
But then the pandemic happened, and I think it is both, I don't know, curse and a purging for the most of us. And in between all of that, you wrote this book, and so I'm going to dive right into it without much ado. So what I wanted to ask you first was that, more than often we always talk about, obviously there's a lot of awareness about mental health and depression and how to deal with it and how everybody should come out and talk about it. But what I wanted to ask you was that, when there's a heartbreak or, a family member or a close one passes away, obviously the sadness that you feel, the angst that you go through is a lot to handle. And it's very, very understandable when a person goes through the depressive feelings or the restlessness or the anxiety. But how to, apart from that, my question to you is how to not fall into depression. What can be done from, say, an early age to avoid it? Because, we're always surrounded with these work insecurities and our personal issues, and we collect and sit on this pile of garbage every single day. That's how I feel like we treat our minds. We collect everything, like, it's almost like collecting the entire garbage in your house and sitting right on top of it. So how do you kind of avoid doing that from an early age?
That's a really good question. And it's a proactive question. In what can be
how to not be depressed. Everybody talks about when you feel depressed, what you should do.
Yes. So one of the biggest things is that all of our adult challenges in life come from our childhood challenges. And so you're right in asking this question, because psychology talks about how as children, anything we experience, what we do or don't get from our parents becomes what we look for from the world. So if we never received validation from our parents, we look for validation in others. If we never received praise or connection from our family, then we look for praise and connection outside of us as we become adults. And so our whole life is seeking and chasing what we didn't experience as the childhood version of ourselves. So the beginning of that is to actually ask yourself, what is it in my life that I see myself craving from other people chasing in other people, and how can I give that to myself first? How can I start with myself, and whatever I'm looking for, whether I'm looking for validation, whether I'm looking for praise, whether I'm looking for confidence, attraction, whatever it is, how can I first have that with myself? And that starts by actually spending time with ourselves. We're always running to spend time with other people. We're always running to be socially around other people, but we don't spend time with our own mind and body. And so the beginning of it is actually checking in once a week, being still and calm with yourself, even if it's for 5 minutes, and just taking a moment and saying, how do I feel today? How's my mind? How's my body? How's my heart today? What does my heart need today? What does my mind need today? When you have this conversation with yourself, and by the way, it's not crazy to do this because we always ask other people, how are you doing today? But we never ask ourselves that question. So starting a conversation with yourself means that when you're on the verge of pressure, stress, whatever it may be, your mind and body have an opportunity to communicate with you how they feel. So those are some of the ways that in the beginning, and of course there are habits we can talk about as we develop this conversation, but the first principle at the root of all of it is we need to spend time with ourselves, and we need to give ourselves what we want everyone else to give us first.
That's so true. In fact, I was feeling like writing all the everything down, whatever you were talking about just now. But you know, when we asked that question, taking it from what you just said, when you ask all these questions, I feel like there's a sea deep within us, because, and more than often, those are those vices that you kind of get attached to, than the virtues. You know, it's very easy to feel sad and say, oh, a glass of wine would make me feel better. You never think of meditation, because last 8 months, that is something that I've been really, really trying to do every single day without fail. Okay, please say hi to Kathy. That's my friend, Russian friend Katya. She loves you.
Thank you so much. I'm sending you all so much love. I'm genuinely...
She's messaging saying, I actually wrote it down with a laughing emoji. I knew it. This is like one family. So I am a very, very sticky person. I love my friends, and I hope they love me as well. So every time there's a full community thing going on. It's like one little mela and festival, how they celebrate in India. So it's usually like that. I feel like we get more attached to the vices than the virtue, and this is more for everybody who's here today and listening to you. And I have personally felt that initially, when I used to, like you had mentioned in your book as well, when I sit down and meditate, I used to cry every single time. Every part of my body used to say, open your eyes, open your eyes. This is bullshit. Meditation is not for everyone. Probably it's not, you're not made for this. So go about your day without actually going through this. And from then, a year back to now, I can actually meditate for an hour if I wanted to. And I feel good about it. But it's not just breathing. I mean, that's like a crutch of the chants, but I feel really good. So when I get a little restless, I start chanting, and then I stop it, and then I feel like my mind doesn't really want me to talk or do anything. It just wants me to sit calm. But most of my friends or people, so when I got to know yesterday that a few days back that we will be doing this, I started talking to like-minded people or friends who are either getting into reading the Bhagavad Gita or starting meditation and stuff. Everybody kind of said, you get attached to the vices more than the virtues. You've asked yourself to, you've given yourself permission to tell you what's wrong and what you need. But what you need is either sugar or binge watch a show or not get up from the blanket and, just procrastinating. What do you do? Like, what is the first step that they should take to?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I want to say congratulations. That's amazing. That's an incredible achievement. I mean, to start off meditating, and like you said, the challenges that come with meditating, but the fact that you stayed the course and that now you've developed this amazing meditation practice, that's beautiful. So amazing. Congratulations.
I still don't know, if it is right or wrong. I don't know that. I just know I can sit quietly. That's all I know.
If you feel that you're experiencing stillness, and you feel that you are experiencing yourself, then that's amazing. And that's the best start. And then when we all hang out together with your community, we'll do some more together as well. But yes, you're so right. Whoever of your friends said that, you know, we get more addicted to the vices than the virtues. What we have to start to do, and in the book, I call it spot, stop, swap. So this is really important, because what most of us don't realize is there's a pattern in our negativity. There's a pattern in our feeling unfulfilled. There's a pattern in us feeling looking downwards on life, or feeling hurt, or feeling pain. So the first thing we have to do is we have to spot, what places do I feel negative? Which people around which do I feel negative? Right? The places and people, and what projects am I doing when I feel negative? People, places, and projects are usually where we feel growth, or where we can feel negativity. Now, that doesn't make someone negative. It doesn't make that place negative. It doesn't make that project negative. But for us at this current time in our life, we have to spot and become aware, where do I feel these things? The second thing we have to do is we have to stop and ask, is this how we want to live our life? Sometimes we can spend years around the same people who don't help us grow, but we never ask, why am I still doing this? Why do I still keep going to that club or that party? Or why am I still hanging around in this circle? Because we never reflect, and we never introspect and check with ourselves, is this what I want? So we have to press pause, and we have to say, is this what I really want? Am I experiencing what I want? And finally, we have to swap that with a better habit. So you have to replace a vice with a virtue. So it's spotting the vice, stopping and pausing, and then switching it for a virtue. And the only way you'll strengthen a virtue is if it becomes a daily habit. And that daily habit has to become your top priority. And you surround yourself with people that make you feel that way. And you will find these people often, they may not even be in your city, but they'll be online. Like today, I mean, we connected online, right? Like we didn't have the same friends. We have a few mutual friends, but we didn't have the same family. We don't have the same community, but we've connected because we have a similar value and a similar virtue. And I encourage everyone out there to look beyond the people around them, to also find that like-mindedness, and to not push away your family and friends, not to just leave them and, you know, be critical of them. Love them for who they are, but allow yourself to still create the community that is powerful for your growth.
That's so true. Okay. I have written questions.
You're doing great. Yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, okay, yes, this is one thing that I also wanted to ask. This is for all my married friends who are living in marital bliss and everything, but they always ask, how do you manage? You manage to. This is a very funny friend of mine, Rupali. She's like my sister. Like, how do you manage to think and be like a monk in a marriage? Don't you, like, you know, we all know Radhi is so beautiful, and she's just the perfect, probably perfect little being, but I'm sure both of you are humans, and you always also would have your own share of, you know, arguments and fights. And how are you like a monk in think like a monk in a wedding, in a marriage?
That's a great question. First of all,
Yeah.
hello Rupali. And yes, Radhi and I completely are human, and actually we so much time in our first years of marriage. So we've been together now for 7 years. We've been married for 4 years, and I've known of her and known of each other for about 11 years now. So it's been a long span of time. And our first few years of marriage, probably our first 2 years of marriage, were some of the most difficult years in our relationship. And the reason was because when you live with someone who comes from a different background, different parenting, different standards, even if you have the same higher values, if your daily compatibility has not been created, has not been built. And I think this is the part where couples and relationships go wrong. And I'll come to the think like a monk part. I think that's a great question. The interesting thing here is that we expect that if you love someone, that you know how to live with them. Just think about that vote. You expect that if you love someone, you know how to live with them, but actually there's no correlation there. If you love someone, you have to learn how to live with them.
That's so true.
And that's the part that we all miss. We all skip that. We think we go from love to living together. It doesn't work like that. So we spent the first 2 years of our marriage having disagreements, arguing, having discussions, figuring things out, communicating, sometimes communicating badly. And then what we could do is some people go backwards and they go, oh, that means we don't love each other. That's not true. It's just you never learned to live with that person. And that counts for anyone, by the way. If you move in with a friend, if you move in with one of your brothers or sisters or family member, it will be the same thing. And love cannot be used as a substitute for learning. Love cannot be used as a substitute for developing the skills of how to live with someone. So how do I think like a monk in my relationship? In the beginning, I actually got it wrong. So in the beginning, I made a big mistake. I was very detached from my relationship. And that actually is not thinking like a monk. It's thinking like an irresponsible man. That's what it is, right? And so I was very detached and I made the mistake. I would make Radhi feel that I was still completely happy being detached and that, you know, I could live alone and it didn't really matter. And it wasn't that feeling. And I realized that that doesn't build a marriage, that now that I've chosen to be a married man, I have to transform parts of that self. And what I realized is that thinking like a monk in a marriage means to be neutral, first of all. Neutral in the sense of when there is an argument or a discussion, to keep my steady-mindedness, to keep the challenge of being equipoised. The key to do this is when you're arguing with someone, you feel like you're arguing with them. Whereas when a monk mindset comes in, you are now watching the argument as an observer, as an outside mind, and you're able to see, oh, actually, Jay, you're wrong in this argument. Oh, actually, Jay, you need to improve this. And Radhi is understanding this from you and you're not communicating clearly. So as soon as you shift into the monk mindset, you're now observing the argument as opposed to thinking you are in the argument. And so that mindset is so powerful because half the time in a relationship, we're just fighting for our egos. And so the monk mindset allows you to take out your ego, look at it from a different perspective, and then approach the same problem. So in so many times in my relationship, I'm able to rise above my ego at times. Sometimes I fail to my ego all the time as well. But the monk mindset allows me to rise above my ego so that I can actually do what's right for me and Radhi, as opposed to just keep fighting with her. And there's many ways that...
You have mentioned it in your book also. I think it's the same with all the negative emotions that we feel. You're supposed to treat it also as well like that. Like say, for example, in the chapter Fear, you spoke about how fear is just an entity. It's like a guest and you should treat it like that. That it's there and you kind of acknowledge it that it's there, but don't really act upon it. Can you elaborate?
Yeah,
that as well, a little bit, please.
You explained it wonderfully. You're completely on the right. Exactly what you said, that the challenge is that we look at everything as us. So we say things like, I'm in pain, like I'm stressed, but you are not stressed. You are feeling stressed. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, but you are not that. You are you, but you are feeling stressed. You're experiencing stress, right? When you say, I am cold, your body's getting colder, but you are feeling colder. It's a feeling, it's an emotion. It can be changed because then when you put a coat on, you feel warm. So it's just a feeling. It's not that you are cold or you are warm. It's just for that instant state. And so when you observe yourself in that way, when you become an observer of life, you start to realize that you are not wrong or right. There is just a discussion happening here. And actually, we should be looking towards the same goal. And so the monk mindset really allows me to stop fighting for my ego and start really living for what is right for both of us. And that really makes a difference. And I want to ask you some questions as well. You've been doing such a wonderful job asking me so many questions. I want to ask you as well. And you can ask more. But what I've been inspired by you, and I really mean this, inspired by you, and many of my friends as well, have discussed that when we noticed that you shared my book, and I was sharing with people the beautiful review that you wrote of my book on your page, and I was so touched and so humbled. and I was sharing it with some friends, and they were following you, and we were talking about you. We're so inspired by your deep study, like your desire to deeply study, not just read, not just post an Instagram quote or a caption, but that you're so deeply studying the Bhagavad Gita. You studied my book. You were saying that you were making notes and highlighting, and I think
Okay.
I just want to say that the way you are approaching study and growth is admirable, and it's an inspiration. And I really hope that anyone who follows you and connects with you learns this wonderful skill from you. So first of all, thank you. And I was going to ask
Thank you so much.
how did you come across the Bhagavad Gita? How did you come across my book? And how did you start discovering your inner path? How did you go on this journey?
I still don't understand it, honestly. I think, again, you learn from your mistake. And it was just one day, I think a couple of years back as well, you know, I'm just going to be very candid and honest. The kind of, like you speak about the pattern of relationship that we end up choosing, and, you know, my father's passing, or the fact that I realized that there was something wrong that I was doing, the kind of people I had surrounded myself with, or, you know, I have been an avid reader since I was very little, but I realized that whether I read the Four Agreements or, you know, Autobiography of a Yogi, The Power of Now, Realizing the Power of Now, Practicing the Power of Now, The Mastery of Love, it was just all just words. There was no application. And then I was like, okay, I'm doing something wrong, because I know all these things, and very conveniently I enjoy it while reading them, and then I forget all about it. The search for some sort of knowledge and the truth, the self-realization, you know, what am I here for, and the fact that my parents have been very, very spiritual and religious, and they always spoke about the value of education, and they were all different things. And somehow, as I was growing up, I felt like everything was kind of connected. So it has only, honestly, I don't do anything. I just love reading, which is what I'm a very, very simple person. I like reading. I like learning. I wake up in the morning every day as a newcomer, whether I have to learn some choreography or whether I have to be on a set. So that's how I'm, and especially nowadays, especially after the pandemic, which has literally taught me, thoda hai thode ki zarurat hai. You don't really need so much to be happy. And the rat race that we are all into, we don't even know what is that race for, and what the end game is really. So I guess there's that realization that life is to be lived, and I want to be happy, and I want to do, I try and do as much seva as possible that I can. And yeah, that was my next question to you. In fact, I hate talking about myself. You know, even though I thought this can be a conversation, I'm very happy being in this place and asking you questions. So, you know, the value of seva that we keep talking about, I just want you to, because people will believe you more, or when it's coming from you, and you'd be able to explain it better.
No, you explain things wonderfully. I'm glad you spoke about yourself, because I actually think that you're inspiring so many people by sharing what you read, because, you know, you have so many people that love you and follow you and connect with you. But when you're using your platform, actually you're doing service just through this question that you asked me. The fact that you're using your platform to educate and share with others ways that they can grow, that in itself is service. So service, going to your question, service is not about anything apart from recognizing that there are many people in the world that have less than us. There are many people in the world that haven't been given as many opportunities as we have. There are many people in the world who every day when they wake up, they don't even know where their meal or their drink is going to come from. And then there's also a recognition that we ourselves have something in our lives that we weren't born with. There's some lack in our own lives. There's some lack of opportunity in our own lives. And we have two choices. We either go and chase that, or at the same time as pursuing our goals and our dreams and chasing them, we also try to extend ourselves to others. And when we do that, what we don't realize is that our heart becomes so full. Our life becomes so full because I'll tell you a few of the gifts of service. When you serve others, the first gift you get is gratitude. What you just said so beautifully in Hindi, that statement, is that you realize that the little you have is so beautiful in and of itself. That gift comes when you serve others and you actually realize how much you do have. Service first gives you the gift of gratitude. The second thing that service gives you is it gives you perspective. When we're complaining about something in our lives and then we see someone else who's actually happy with very little, we gain perspective. We go, oh, wow, let me look at my life a bit differently. Let me approach this differently. So that's another gift of service. The third gift of service is this incredible understanding of confidence and self-esteem. When you serve others and you realize that your tiniest act makes a difference in someone's life, you feel a boost of confidence and you think, oh, I matter. I can actually do something. So often, so many of us lose self-esteem because we stop serving. We lose self-confidence because we stop serving. But when you serve someone, you think, wow, I matter. Like my life matters, my existence matters, that you can make a difference in this world. So many of us today feel this low feeling that I don't matter, no one notices me, I'm forgotten, I'm the last person that people think about. When you serve, all of that goes away because you recognize that. And studies show this. Studies show that whether you spend money or time on someone else versus yourself, when you spend money or time on yourself, your happiness grows not much. Like it doesn't go up or go down. It pretty much stays the same. But when you give your time or money to others, your happiness goes up at least by 10%. So even scientifically, service is shown to actually boost our joy and our happiness. Now, this doesn't mean that you ignore yourself. It doesn't mean that you stop spending time on yourself or your meditation that you need to give. But once you've done that, it's so important. And I see so many people today who have their passion, they have their strengths, but they're missing this compassion piece. And actually, that's the part, that without that piece of compassion, of love, which really connects us to each other. And you're doing that right now with your platform. You're doing that when you smile at someone. You're doing that when you ask someone a question. You're doing that when you help the person outside your home today. You're doing that when you just greet someone wonderfully.
I think that's so important though, like you said, to spoke about the lack of compassion. I think now in our society, more than before, it takes nothing to be nice. And I genuinely have felt it and experienced it in my life, that it is so easy to be bad or behave badly or not talk and not say a nice hello. So I genuinely hope and feel that, people have a little bit more compassion, because anyway, we are so involved in our own lives and in our own problems. And being a good person, being a little thoughtful, it really takes nothing. So,
agree. Agree.
Yeah.
It's, we'll make mistakes. I talk about it in the book. I remember once I was jumping into a car service like Uber or Lyft. And I jumped in, and then I realized about 2 minutes later we hadn't moved. And I said to the driver, hey, what's up? And they were like, you didn't say hello to me. And I thought to myself, wow, wow. It's easy to forget. And I said, I'm so sorry. I was like, thank you. You've taught me such an important lesson today. I was like, yeah, like how much does it take? I know I'm busy. I'm on my phone. I'm working, whatever it is, but that's just not good enough, because if we lose the human connection in the simplest of forms, and I told him, you've taught me such an amazing lesson today. I will, so now whenever I step into a car or whatever, the first thing is, hello, how are you? How's your day going? Hope you're well. Because, you just forget that these very small things. And so I make these mistakes. We all make these mistakes, but we can all improve. So yeah, thank you so much for asking that question.
I'll ask you one last question now, just to sum it all. Why don't you tell everybody who's watching and who has not read your book and do not want to, sometimes people are not readers, but they really, really love what you post on your Instagram and, the kind of things that you talk about. What should people do every single day to keep their minds, body, and heart and soul healthy and happy?
I love that. That's a wonderful question. So,
Like, to sum it up.
absolutely. And for those of you that don't like reading, I also read my whole audiobook. So if you like listening, if you prefer listening like this, then I spent about 25 hours reading my whole book, and you can actually hear me reading it. So if you prefer listening, then you can listen to me read the book. But
by the way, do you know what I did? Sorry, before you answer the question, because I was really, I was waiting for your book, and then I had already got the audio book also on Audible. I started listening to it, and I'm like, no, I want to read the book. So once the book came, and I was reading it, but I had already also started enjoying listening to you read it out. So I have actually given your book 10 hours of good reading and listening. I did it together, and it was amazing. I was so present. I listened to every single word. I read I felt all the emotions that you're talking about. I enjoyed your experience. It was so lovely. Thank you for writing that book. I really do. I really mean it.
No, I feel it, honestly. And that's why my heart I just want to meet you and all your friends and be together and start a book club together when we're together. And, but no, wow, I'm honestly so humbled. Truly not. I really feel how genuinely you've connected with the book. So thank you. But the idea of how to have that happy, positive day every single day. In the book, I give a very simple acronym called TIME, TIME. And these are 4 simple habits that anyone can do. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to own anything. You don't have to create anything. Anyone can start doing this today or tomorrow morning. I know in India it's already the evening. So you can wake up and do this tomorrow. So the first T stands for thankfulness. If you've noticed in this conversation, and you do this so wonderfully, you've constantly thanked me, you've thanked your audience, you've thanked your friends. There's such a great degree of thankfulness in your life, and that creates joy in our life. But there's a key thing about gratitude that I want to share with you. Can you tell me 2 of your closest friends' names? They can be real or imaginary. You've told me some already.
No, Rupali and Isha.
Okay, fine. Rupali and Anisha. So Rupali and Anisha, I know you're both wonderful people, but for the basis of this conversation, just go along with it. So let's say after this is all over, you throw a party and Rupali and Anisha come. And then the next morning, Rupali messages you and she says, thank you so much. I had a great time, which is a wonderful message. And Rupali, I know you're a wonderful person, but just for the basis of this example. And then Anisha messages you and she says, you know what? I had the best time ever. It was amazing. It was just, you absolutely put on the best party of all time. The games were amazing. Your family's amazing. Oh, the food. Oh my gosh. And I love dancing with you. It was so much fun. Thank you for having me. This changed my year completely. Now, both of those are beautiful messages, but the second message is likely to bring you more joy. And here's the key with gratitude. The more specific and the more personalized you are, not only will the person receiving it be happier, but even the giver will be happier. When you reflect in a personalized, specific way as to how someone makes you happy and joyful, and you share that with them, it transforms your relationship. So starting, and sorry again to Rupali and Anisha for using yours, but I hope that helped. But the answer here is every single day, start your day with a grateful thought. It's said that when you're in a state of gratitude, you can't be anywhere else. So if you're in gratitude, you can't be in worry. If you're in gratitude, you can't be in anxiety. So when you start your day, start with a grateful thought, but make it a specific one. Send some a video message, a text message, a voice note, a FaceTime call. Do it. And it just has to be 30 seconds, just 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long thing. Choose one person a day. So that's T. The I is inspiration. This is a really important one. Every day, and I know that, you say on your bio on Instagram, you say, I love dancing, books, and food. So the interesting thing here is that when we get hungry, we don't panic or get worried about hunger because we know that if we eat, the hunger will go away. We may panic about where am I going to get food from or what am I going to eat today? But you know in your mind that if you eat, your hunger will be satiated, and you'll be full. You know that because you've done it before. Inspiration is exactly the same. When you feel hungry or starved of inspiration, you shouldn't sit there and panic and say, why am I not inspired today? Why am I not motivated today? You just have to realize if you feed yourself inspiration, then you'll be full again. And by the way, when you wake up tomorrow, just like you lose the food in your stomach, you'll lose the inspiration. And then again, you have to get inspired every day. So similarly, we have to ask ourselves, what is the habit I'm doing every day? So for you, it's reading books or listening to books. For someone else who's watching today, it may be watching a talk or a TED talk. It may be listening to this conversation. Maybe some of you are listening to this today and this is what's going to inspire you. You have to find your habit. At one point in life, I used to listen to Steve Jobs' commencement speech from Stanford University every day. Every single day I used to listen to it. And it had such a big impact on my life. And obviously I listened to my monk teachers every single day for many, many years. And so that inspired me. So ask yourself, what am I doing to inspire myself? The third one is meditation. We spoke about that. So the idea is to just spend some time with yourself in the beginning. And the E is for exercise. Whether it's a dance party, and I know you love dancing, or whether it's a virtual workout with friends, or whether it's just some in-home indoor workouts, or just going up and down the stairs, movement will change your life. Movement is so powerful. Don't try and substitute it for anything else. So the 4 habits for a happy, healthy, and positive life: TIME, thankfulness, inspiration, meditation, and exercise. And there's one actually that I forgot to put in the book, so I'll share it here. It's S at the end, times. S is for sleep. It's shown that if you sleep before midnight, especially by 10 p.m., the human growth hormone, HGH, is most powerful between the hours of 10 to 12. So even if you sleep 8 hours after midnight versus sleeping 8 hours, including 10 p.m. to 12, that sleep where you sleep slightly earlier will be much more powerful. So if we can change our sleep patterns, so many of our mental challenges and stresses will actually go away simply by sleeping appropriately and sleeping at the right time.
Also, according to Bhagavad Gita, you live in tamogun, no? If you sleep very late, we're all very worried in the class because according to the Bhagavad Gita yoga ladder, we're either on the animal ladder or even below it. Sakar karma, and you know, there's Gyan yoga, Dhyan yoga, they are just like unattainable this lifetime of me. So
Absolutely. I love that. You've studied it so deeply. That's so wonderful. We should do some sessions on the Bhagavad Gita too. It'd be really nice.
Yes, please. Yeah. You would have to talk. I'm still very broken. You know, so the thing with Bhagavad Gita, when I was reading the first chapter, I was like, okay, this is like a story. In the second, I kind of started understanding what Shri Krishna was trying to tell Arjuna. But, you know, it was still a little vague. But by the time you reach the third chapter, you understand the second better. And by the time you reach the fourth chapter, everything starts making sense in your life. Like, you know, you feel that application, you feel like, okay, I can use what I learned in the class here in this situation in my life. I can drop this anger that I'm feeling right now. This is not important and that's not necessary. So it works in miraculous ways and it works by itself. And, you know, during the lockdown when I was in Dubai, we call them Mataji and Prabhu. So they, you know, I used to always ask Mataji, I understand all this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to apply. She used to be like, it's still too early. When you go back, when you start your work again, then you'll realize how much you feel like you're a changed person. Now, you know, earlier on, if a stupid or a vile comment, if somebody had to say something about me, it used to matter a lot. Like I used to feel very bad. Now I feel bad, but it does not affect my sleep. Like I don't bring it back home. So that is probably the only difference.
That's how it is with all of this stuff, that when you're reading it, you don't realize how much it helps you. It's the same with food. When you eat food, you're thinking about the taste. You're not thinking that, oh, this is going to keep me alive and this is going to keep me nourished and this is going to keep me energized. You're just saying, oh, this tastes nice. But actually the food is doing so much, and spiritual wisdom is the same, that when you're feeding yourself it, you may think, oh, this is nice, but how is this helping? But actually it's nourishing your soul. And so what you described there is wonderful, and it's true. It's already working in the background without you knowing, or without me knowing. So
this was so nice.
This was such a great start to
So
my.
good doing this.
This is the first thing I've done today. I hope we get to do many, many more. I'm grateful that you stayed up late after work to do this after a busy day.
Please don't say all that, really.
It's true, though. It's true.
No, I was really looking forward to doing this, and I'm so glad that we both could find time to do this. And yeah,
Absolutely. No, I'm honestly.
I look forward to many more conversations with you, and I'm going to write to you now. Please be ready to receive some messages whenever I face something in my life, when I have questions that I feel confused with. I'm going to disturb you and ask
that.
for a.
You can reach out to me anytime. And I want to give my love to all your friends again that you mentioned before.
Thank you. Say hi to Betu also, Betali.
Betani, am I saying that right?
Betaliki.
Betaliki.
It's a Bengali name. Yeah.
Betaliki. Wonderful. What a beautiful name. Yeah. Hello to you. Sending you all my love. And I'm honestly so excited to meet you all when I can visit India. So thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah,
thank
wonderful.
You so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All my love and regards.
Yeah,
bye.
Thank you so much. Bye. And save this. I want to share it too. So save it for me.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying save it for me because I want to share this as well. So you can save it for me so I can share it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, before you go, how do I save it? What do I do now?
We'll ask you to either save it or share it. You can save it and share it. So it will ask you 3 questions. So just don't cross that off.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.